Hi, this is Miss Smith bringing you a quick video from Richology Tutoring. So I'm going to go over rational equations, which are equations with polynomials in the numerator and denominator. Also, it has fractions. So when we're dealing with fractions, we want to get rid of the fraction, and we're going to be multiplying the equation by what's called the least common denominator, and then solve for the variable. And big thing with these, make sure there's no zeros in the denominator. So when I'm working through it, I'm gonna make sure I check my answers to make sure it doesn't equal to 0 in the denominator. So first one, let me pull up an example problem. Let's do these. We have 4 over x plus x equals 5. So I have a fraction and I have a polynomial up here and I have a polynomial here. Polynomial, of course, can be any degree of x. So what I'm going to do is multiply this whole equation by my least common denominator. So I know I have an x here, theoretically, or actually there is a 1 here and a 1 here. So the common denominator with all of these would be x, because 1 times x is x, so the common denominator x. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by x. So I'm going to do 4x over x. I'm going to distribute this, and then I have x squared equals 5x. Now when I do that, of course, it ends up putting me in a position where I can cancel out my x here and here. Bam. And bam, I crossed out my x with the x. I don't know. All right, so I'll be left with 4 plus x squared equals 5x. Now I want to solve for x, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my x's on one side. Or actually, I'm gonna get my everything on one side and set this equal to 0. All right, so I'm going to do 2 minus 5x. And I'm left with x squared minus 5x plus 4 equals 0. And then I can either, let's see, factor this, and it does. It factors pretty cleanly. I know I have x, what multiplies to 4 but adds to 5. That would be a -4 and a -1. Yep, that'll multiply out to a +4, but it adds together for a -5. All right, so these are my factors. And then to solve for 0, I'll do x minus 4 equals 0, and then x minus 1 equals 0. And solve for x on both of these. I'm left with x equals 4, and over here, x is equal to 1. Now, I need to make sure that these zeros, or these answers, if plugged into the original equation, will not make this denominator 0. So I have x equals 4. That will work just fine. My denominator won't be 0. I have x equals 1. That works just fine. My denominator won't be 0. So these are both good. Now I can also just plug it in. 4 divided by 4 plus 4 equals 5. 4 divided by 4 is 1, plus 4 equals 5. Bam, checks out, it makes sense. Then I can do the other one. 4 over 1 plus 1 equals 5. 4 divided by 1 equals 4, plus 1 equals 5. Bam, makes sense. My answer is both of them are real solutions. I'll do another one that is a little bit more complicated in the next video.